let's talk about the ride. 3,500 miles, 40 days,
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles to New York. Obviously, you're raising awareness and funds for MS. But what was your ultimate hope in this ride?
Well, the ride was never meant to be a film. We never set out to make a movie. And the whole idea of taking on this big physical and mental challenge came from a documentary that I was working on about what happens to a guy when he turns 40. I thought it would be a great comedic documentary. Almost like 40-year-old virgin, but, you know, what happens to a guy, buys the fast car, he has the affair, he gets the hair plugs, gets the pec implants, you know, goes to get to the tanning beds and all, you know, just like some crazy stuff happens to guys when they go through the midlife crisis.
Right.
So it's not like I felt like I was going to have a midlife crisis, but everybody kept telling me I was going to have one. So I thought, well, it's that point in your life where as a guy, for many guys, and not generalizing, but for many guys, when they realize that they're not going to become a pro athlete.
Right.
Right? Like when you're 30 and you're at the field and you're watching, you know, you're watching the Super Bowl and you're at the game, in the back of your mind, you have this crazy idea that if for some reason you got called up to play because there was some weird thing that happened and they were like, hey, listen, we need you, and you had to jump over the fence and go out onto the field and play, in the back of your mind you have this crazy idea that you could still play.
Right.
You can't, but you think you can.
You're right.
And then when you get to 40, you realize that not only can you not do it, but, I mean, everybody else knows, but now you know. So then it's like, oh my goodness, I'm turned, you know, right? So it was sort of one of those situations, and I thought, I'm not going to wait for this midlife crisis to hit me. I'm going to go take on the biggest physical and mental challenge of my life. And then I thought, I cannot go do this ride and put all this effort into the rides, you know, get all the sponsors and get my dad to come over from New Zealand and ride these 100 miles a day and, you know, bust myself up if I'm not doing it for a bigger cause than being able to just hang out in a bar with some guys and, you know, when I'm 55 go, yeah, well, one day I got on my bike and I rode across America. You know, it's like, it doesn't mean anything, right? So it needed to be for a bigger purpose. I've supported MS for the last 7 years because I sponsor a cycling team in California. We support young riders who have the potential to go pro, and we also raise awareness for MS. So, and I've become an ambassador for them. So it just made sense that the money was going to go to MS. The way that the film came about was every day we were creating video blogs of our ride, of the ride. So that was really hard, you know, riding 100 miles a day and then setting up an edit system and then editing until the early hours of the morning and then getting up with not enough sleep and then riding 100 miles and doing, you know, doing press and then riding 100 miles and just repeating that over and over and over and over again. Got home, had this big box of incredible HD material, and my wife is a producer and we were talking about this footage and I said, you know what, it would be a crying shame if this footage just sat in this box and never was never made into something else.
I know you can go to the screening tonight here in town at Regal, and we'll get that information out. But you can also download the film as well, right?
Yeah.
You can on iTunes and Amazon, I assume?
Yeah, that's been huge, actually. It's been sitting as the third highest rated documentary on Amazon since it launched in February. And, you know, this is the surprising thing about this film. It's like the little film that could, you know what I mean? And I think our biggest challenge is trying to communicate to people that this film isn't about bike riding. It's about a pilgrimage, it's about a journey, it's about camaraderie, it's about the relationship with my dad, and it's about friendship, and it's about doing something for yourself while you're doing something for others.
Nice.
So we really tried to take the emphasis off the bike riding. The bike is the vehicle to take us on this emotional, physical journey.